Hey everybody, thank you for joining and welcome to episode 8 of FOBO. I'm your friendly neighborhood product owner Tom Ald. So you've decided to leave your job. In episode 6 we talked about what to do before resigning. In episode 7 we talked about getting your resume ready in 30 minutes. Today we're going to focus on the interview, a 30-minute conversation that could lead to a whole new career. We've seen some pretty bad interview examples right in front of our eyes. Today, let's avoid those pitfalls and get you ready to nail the interview. Grab a coffee, tea, or your favorite adult beverage, and let's talk about staying relevant at work. Let's take a minute to calibrate. 2 episodes ago, we talked about how to improve your skill set and find your next job before leaving your current job. Last episode, we talked about creating a killer resume that would instantly go to the top of every hiring manager's list. Today, we're going to talk about the moment you get the call from a prospective employer when they say, "Hey, we'd really like to learn more about you. Can you come in for an interview?" Excitement is quickly overtaken by panic. Oh no, this is really happening. I have to get ready. I'm glad you're feeling this way. It's professional and it shows you care. That's a good thing. I'm fortunate. I've conducted well over 1,000 interviews. At one consulting firm, we dedicated every Friday to do nothing but interviewing to help keep up with our growth. Colleagues and I would invest all day conducting a dozen interviews, comparing notes, and identifying the people that helped us build an amazing consulting office. There's something about getting a chance to meet another human being going through a pretty important moment in their career. This person is putting themselves out there to be judged. Getting a no thanks after an interview hurts. Trust me, I've gotten plenty. So what can we do to get a yes? First, you must prepare. You only get one shot to make a good impression. Make the most of it. Start by knowing your resume, forwards and backwards. The interviewer is going to use the resume as a guide. They have no other context about you. You want to use your deep knowledge of your resume to help the interviewer connect the dots in your past to show how you are perfect for this job. The interview gives you a chance to give context and color that just doesn't come out from the text on the resume. Next, do some research on the company you're interviewing at. Search for recent news. Have they had a big newsworthy event? Did they get an important award or recognition? Make note of it and be sure to bring it up during the interview process. It signals to the interviewer that you are interested in this opportunity. It will differentiate you from the other candidates. I always advise that you have 5 questions you could go to whenever an interviewer asks you the question, "Do you have any questions for us?" Next, do some research on the person or persons that you are interviewing with. Do some professional investigating. Put their name into LinkedIn and see if there are any connections between you and that person. The connection between you and the interviewer turns you into a human and not just a candidate. I can't tell you how powerful it is for you to say something like, "I see you know Jane Doe at XYZ company. Jane and I volunteer together." It will almost guarantee that once you're out the door, the hiring manager is contacting Jane to hear about you. But before you drop Jane's name, make sure to get her permission. Nothing's more embarrassing than if the hiring manager makes the call and blindsides her. Sure, she will still put in a good word for you, but it might be awkward for a minute. Try to make sure that interaction goes well. Now the date is approaching for your interview. Print off at least 1 copy of your resume for every person you're expected to meet with, plus 2 extras for anybody that might be asked to sit in, which is always a good sign, plus 1 for you. You want to have one just for yourself so you can make notes on it and highlight areas people are asking you about. If you have to go through a series of interviews in one day, you might start seeing a pattern of where people are focusing. And you can make sure to give a powerful example of your experience or the approach that you would take given the chance. Next, what to wear? Dress for the job you want, not for the one you have. And yes, business dress is evolving. I always encourage a candidate to dress 1 notch above where they think they should. I've never seen a candidate get dismissed because they're being overdressed. I know there are urban legends about engineers cutting the tie off a candidate who came in with a tie, but I've never personally known anybody that's happened to. If it did, I'm not sure that's the place you would want to work anyway. But if you're just lost at this point, ask the recruiter or the HR person you're working with. Just be honest. Tell them you want to make a good impression. What would you suggest I wear that would fit in and make a good impression? Don't forget, these people are invested in your success. They look good if you make them look good. Next, make sure to get clear instructions on where to go, where to park, and if you need to bring ID to get through security. Map it out the day before and give yourself a nice buffer in case of traffic, road closures, or bad weather. I always encourage a candidate to walk in the building 15 minutes early. Much earlier can cause some stress for the interviewer because they want to make a good impression on you too, so having you sit in the lobby too long is just not a good look for them. If you get there way too early, just hang out in your car or get a coffee before going in. Now you're in the building. Take this chance to use the restroom, check your look one more time. Be sure to take that power pose while you're in there and start building up your confidence and energy. Now, take out your resume, keep scanning it over while you're waiting, and breathe. Just breathe. Everybody in this interview process wants you to succeed. Nobody's going to pounce on you if you make a mistake. Here comes the hiring manager. You're ready to go with a big smile, strong handshake. This is the first impression. Make it count. Now you get a little chit chat. How's your day? How's the traffic? Would you like some water, coffee? I always say yes to water. I like to have it in front of me in case I need to take a beat before answering a question. And if I have a series of interviews, you're going to want to stay hydrated. Next, fully listen to their questions. Make a note or two if you have an idea come up about how to answer, but make sure to let them finish their question before you start. Now, try to give them the most direct and relevant answer you possibly can. Sure, give it some color and context, but keep it concise. They have a full list of questions, and if you take 20 minutes to answer just one question, they're not going to get to fully know you. And that will almost always lead to a no. Shoot for an answer that's 5 minutes or so in length. If you have a much longer answer than that, do your best to keep it to 5, but then end your answer with, I have more details I can share, or we could get to the next question on your list. What do you prefer? You've just given them control of the interview, and they can make the choice between hearing more or moving on. Trust me, they will appreciate your self-awareness. Let's strategize around some common occurrences that might occur during an interview. If they ask a question that you don't have an immediate response to, take a beat, take a drink of water, glance at your resume. Maybe there's something in there that'll jog your memory. It's not rare if you go blank during an interview, even when you have a great answer to give. Now, you could either ask them to restate the question, or you could just let them know that you're having a hard time coming up with a good example. Maybe we could move on to the next question and come back to this one, you could ask. The big thing I advise here is to not lie and make up an answer. It's just better to be honest. Maybe you don't have the experience. If that is the case, try to share an approach you would take. You know, I've never done that in the past, but I would approach it by doing X, Y, and Z to come up with a solution. Now that you've shown them how your brain works under stress, they get to know you a little bit better. The interviewer will take that as a positive. Another interview problem comes up when you don't fully understand the question. Maybe they used an acronym or a context that didn't make sense to you. Ask them a clarifying question. So when you asked about the Scrum Master role, is this Scrum Master fully dedicated to the team, or are they spread between multiple teams? Don't try to answer the question until you're clear what their question is. Now the interview's starting to wind down, and they either need to get you to your next interview or walk you out. Usually they leave the last 5 minutes for you to ask questions of them. As an interviewer, it's really awkward if you don't have any questions about the job or the company. So have a few of those questions ready to go. If you really don't have a question about the role or the company, ask the interviewer about their job. Guess what? Everybody loves to talk about themselves, so give them the chance. Great conversationalists know the power of getting a person to talk about themselves. One thing to try, get clear before you leave that final interview is what is the time frame for next steps? Either a yes, no, or we need more time with you. See if you can just get an idea so that you don't stress yourself out while waiting to hear back. Now, guess what? You've just nailed the interview. But you don't get to relax yet. There are some follow-up activities to take care of to get that offer. So come back next week and we're going to talk about closing the deal. There are some tips and tricks to use after the interview to get that offer letter in your hands. So, there you have it. How did we do? Did you get any value from us today? If you did, please hit the like button and subscribe for future updates. Every little bit helps get the word out. You never know. You might help a friend. You might help an enemy. Stay relevant at work. Thank you for your time. This is your friendly neighborhood product owner, Tom Ald, signing off. Have a great week. Take care.